This is short, but extremely important, because the error situation is one of the most important situations you need to handle properly, for two reasons. If an error is not handled properly, people will be fed up with your website and will not come anymore, or even worse, they can make wrong things, buy something that is not the one they wanted. So error minimization and handling. Why I say minimization? Because the most important thing is to have people avoid errors. So design the page in a way that make people understand that they're doing something wrong. Then you must trap error, so you must understand that there is an error and trap it, and then you must mitigate the situation. And why I put here these three pictures? Because when people is under stress, is more prone to make errors. It's not easy, because there is not a, almost never, the situation when you say, this is an error and this is right. It's a gray scale of different situations, and you must understand which side you are. Donald Norman, in this beautiful book, I already told you about this book, says, the designer should think in the simple dichotomy between errors and correct behavior. Rather, the entire interaction means all the page and all the pages, should be treated as a cooperative endeavor between person and machine. You remember last time we spoke about the contact between the mind of the customer and the mind of the machine. One in which misconception can arise in either side. You know, you will see that it's fantastic when I've done a lot of test websites. Normally, you remember we spoke about, you have somebody near the customer is using the machine, and on the other room, there are some people, the stakeholders, some of them are the programmers. And so when somebody makes an error, the programmer says, oh, he's stupid. Then happen that the second person makes the same error. They are stupid. When the third customer makes the same error, I go to the programmer and say, are you sure he is the stupid? Or maybe you have done something stupid, because if everybody makes the same error, means that the system is wrong. You must always start from the idea that you can do it better and have it, make it not easy make errors. Error tolerance is when you create a situation in which it becomes impossible to make an error. So these guys are still there. If you go to the train station, you will see that sometimes they need to go under here to detach some part of the train and reattach. This is a very dangerous thing, because if when he is there, the train master does not throw and start the train, is killed. You know how you have an idea on how they avoid this? We've never seen an interesting thing. This guy, before going down, goes to the train master and asks for a key. The train master has to take out the key and give to them, and the key has a special thing to attach here, and only if they have the key of the train attached to their end, they can go down. So it's impossible. Without the key, the train will not start. You can have a read to this. This is the classification of error. Some error are unintended error. So, for instance, attentional failure. I want to press plus, and I press minus. It's an attentional failure. Then a lapse, a memory failure. I don't know what I'm doing, and I pressed the wrong button. Then there are the intended. The intended action is a mistake. I want to buy an airline ticket, no airline, there is no airline there, train ticket for Monaco, and you know that in the world there are two Monaco. One is Monaco Monte Carlo, where I live, and the other is Monaco in Bavaria, in Germany. This is an error done by a mistake. And then there is a violation. I want to get into your website and make something to steal your money, for instance. We must take in account where we are. And there is an interesting theory about the error and the problem done by error. It is called the Swiss cheese model. Swiss cheese model means that in a system, normally there are different roles and different situations to trap the error. But sometimes there is a way of passing by all of them. Have a look on the internet if you are interested. We must prevent, as we told. We must discover and facilitate and make, whenever possible, undo what they have done. Of course, it's not always possible. For instance, a very dangerous thing is to make a payment in the internet. If you use the fast payment, it's very good, but you cannot recall. The only way is that people makes you back the money. Prevention. For instance, you know that sometimes it happens, you put the password and it's not wrong. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. Then you look at, there is the caps lock. And so you're putting uppercase letters. So the prevention is a light that shows you, normally it's not there. In the old keyboard was not there. Then you should avoid modality. Somebody knows what is modality? People, you are in the 5th year. Nobody knows modality, what is? A modal action? Modality is when something you do depends on the situation in which the system is. An example, very stupid of modality, you are in the car. You press the acceleration. If the car is lighted up, the car will move. If it's not lighted up, we stay like that. This is modality. Whenever there is modality, you should, first of all, avoid modality when possible. But when it's there, you must indicate exactly the situation. One case, very important, is when you have a lot of possible command, and imagine Photoshop, the action you take on the picture depends on which one you have chosen, you should use a different cursor for different things. I put this is the first Macintosh, but just to tell you that this is a very old idea. You know, in the first Macintosh, when you had to, it was something similar to make drawing. When you have taken the draw, you have this cursor. If you take the move, to move the page, you have different cursors. So the situation is modal, because I have chosen to draw, and I draw. To move, I draw all the other. But the modality has a clear indication. Another way of making difficult to make error is to study a mechanism that makes it really impossible. You know this car, what is? Have you ever seen this car? This was my first car. It was the Fiat 500, the real one, the old one. It has a problem. If you took the car, open the door, push the button, the little button that you use inside to close the door, and you close, you're lost. And if the key are inside, you cannot open. In nowadays car, if you push this button and you close the door, the button will come up to avoid you to close the key inside the car. This is a way of avoid error. Another way of avoiding error is use good defaults. when there is a value that can have a default, use a default. So people, if the finger is faster than the brain, at least there is something inside. Another way of avoiding letter is to propose something possible. If I go, you know Kajak. Kayak is a beautiful place to find airline tickets. If I write Linate, comes out all the airport, it has L-I-N in the name. Then, when you have found a letter, an error, we must stage the error. And stage the message means, be careful, there is an error. Do you want really to do this? And be careful, this can be undone. So give the three possible. And every time it's possible an error to get a confirmation. If I try to cancel all my disk, for instance, if I try to format in the past, in the old DOS, you write format C // and the disk was totally erased. Nowadays, it says, do you really want, are you sure you want to cancel everything? But without exaggeration. You remember this is my cat, Tiger, and Tiger, when is in this situation, is very bored. When people keep telling you, are you sure? Are you really sure? Sometimes you you're fed up of. So it's an important thing to be equilibrated, to find an equilibrium between avoiding error and having people get mad about the message. Another important thing is to offer a bypass. You see, here is Amazon, is an old one. I have to put email and address. The most common thing is that I forgot my password. I put immediately here a link to go to the forgotten password page. It's almost finished. Huh? When you check a website, you must take in account this aid rule. Aid rule means that there are three things you must have always when you manage an error. The first thing is alert. Alert must be very clear. If you are putting something wrong inside, it's a good position to use the red color, for instance. Be careful. You have done something wrong. Stop. Identify means stop because you are doing this, this, and this. This is interesting. It's a real picture of a book I got in the market in the UK. Was a book during the war to identify the enemy airplane by the shape. Identify. And then direct. Direct means there is an error. Is this error? What should you do to go out from the error? eBay, that is a very good website. For instance, here, what I did was enter a website, a bid. And I bidded too much, less than the value that was there. So it's telling me, there is probably a bid amount. Alert. Identify. The bid of 0 is less than the minimum. You cannot bid 0. And what to do? Bid at least more than $5.5. It's not always possible to do. This is very sharp. Sometimes it's more difficult. But always think, alert, identify, and direct. Whenever possible, give the possibility to people to undo things. Say, you are lost, you don't understand, you make an error, you can tell, let's go back. It's not always possible, because if I paid something, if I changed some information, I cannot undo. And last but not least, when an error comes, you go to this page 404. page 404 must be done very well, must be well written, and say catch the attention and explain to the customer that is looking to a page that does not exist.